Hi, my name is David Nuttall. I'm a co-owner at Wellbank Park, and I've been involved in the project, working with the community over the last 10 years.
And I'm Janet Nuttall, David's wife and partner on this project. And although I've always known about Wellbank, I joined about 12 months ago and have been involved in marketing and, well, a little bit of everything, really. Well, I'm more hands-on at the moment. So I visit twice a week on the sales pod at Wellbank Park in Bootle. And I did that because I wanted to remain close to the project. So I wanted to understand what was happening on a week-to-week basis. So I've seen it go from a very bare, scarred piece of land to now what is coming to be a landscaped housing development.
Yeah, and my involvement really started about 10 years ago, maybe a little earlier than that, when I was invited by several of the local community to look at was a very cherished site actually within West Cumbria and the Bootle community as an ex-MOD site. And the community wanted to develop plans to acquire the site and to develop the site. And so I was initially visited with uncertainty as to whether we would buy the site or not, but was very quickly enthused by the community and their plans. We bought the site and subsequently engaged with that community to develop the vision for the site, but not only for the site on its own, but the site as it sits within both the Bootle community and the West Cumbrian community. And at all times wanting to incorporate some of the business activities that we are very much involved in these days, and they're all really sustainable based businesses, whether they're in sustainable building, energy, environment, health and wellness. So we've tried to as we've developed the thinking on the site, to incorporate all those elements. And to this point, we have a total permission for the whole 12-acre site. It's an ex-MOD site. And we are now building the first homes. We should have 6 homes. And these are custom-built homes, and people are buying plots, designing their own houses, and then being supported to build those houses.
And we've engaged with the local community all along the line. We've had public consultations. We present to the parish council. We get local people quite often will drop into site because you know, it can be quite worrying. It's a 12-acre site, not far off the centre of the village, and quite rightly they want to know what we're doing. And we've been really delighted with how welcoming they've been, and really how they want to see that site developed, don't they?
Yeah, it's a really the site when it was an MOD site had tennis courts, swimming pool, ballroom, canteen, and actually has got a lot of very, very fond memories for many in the community. I think it's you know, we've got several businesses that are involved. Actually, my original background was on power stations and big centralized power generation in the 80s. And when we come to the site, that had all changed. So you can now have a very decentralized and much lighter touch reference energy, but you have to think about it and you have to plan it. And you have to specify it. So the quality of the construction, it's always better to build better so you don't need as much energy. That's the start point. Rather than generating a lot of energy with your renewables, let's reduce the amount you need to start with. So the sustainability of the build and working with our partners at Fleming Homes, for example, and getting the specification right is important. But then adopting solar, battery storage, air source, and heat pumps in general. We will probably on this site use both air source, water source, ground source, a across the whole site when we're done. All of that drives, lower carbon footprints, lower energy for buyers, lower energy costs for the buyers of the property. And it's right at the heart of what we want to do.
And we've spoken to lots of experts, haven't we? So we've spoken to landscape architects and some ecologists, and so it's quality and it's detail. So what is going to bring wildlife to the site? What does having water on the site mean? Because that brings in loads of wildlife. Our planting plan will be local trees, plants that attract bees. We hope to have beehives. We're planting hedges, so there's wildlife corridors. We're in the national park, so we have to acknowledge that. And it's a beautiful part of the country, and we want Wellbank to be, fit in and be a beautiful site and a beautiful place to live.
Well, that, to my mind, that's a really kind of contemporary modern approach today. It's actually been further underpinned, I think, by the COVID pandemic, actually, which has caused a lot of people to reflect on the kind of lives and live-work balance that they want. And in some respects, I think that's come to the vision that we originally set out with. So I think the residents of Wellbank Park will be actually, I expect when we're done, that there'll be quite a variety of types of people living at Wellbank Park. So we should be able to attract people who are looking to start out with smaller and affordable properties. But also, I think we'll see local people coming to the site. There'll be people who are downsizing, coming to the site and the community, but also people coming to work. The site is 700 metres from Bootle railway station. We've got 25 trains a day going up and down the west coast. That gives fantastic access into places like BAE, Westlake Science Park, Sellafield. The whole supply chain network can be supported. And I think the team is really strong as well. We have chosen the people that we want to work on the project as partly by skill set, but also partly by attitude and motivation, and we want to really create a good vibe around this. And what that means now is that because we've got that quite a tight team with Ashley and Joe and Andrew and Janet and the people that sit around them, is that when people come to site and talk with us as a team, it's a really consistent message. It's a sincere message, I think. I don't feel the need to be on site to make sure that the right things are being said to potential plot buyers when they come onto site. It's built in, and and we know the area and we know the community, and we can be enthusiastic and sincerely enthusiastic about the way we think it'll be to live in that part of the world.
And our dream is to have a cup of coffee, looking over the two lakes and thinking, wow, we did it.
But also people that actually, have been coming on holiday to the Lake District for 25 years, and all of a sudden they can move to the Lake District, design and build their own home with help. And then when they're on the site and looking at the site, I think what they're seeing, rather than a housing development, is a total project. It's going to have access to facilities like swimming pool, gym, cafe, restaurants, hot desking, meeting spaces, sensory room, hydrotherapy pool, and all of that, I think, makes it so much different.
Yeah. And what's lovely is we really get to know the people that are building houses, and because it's custom built, we really get to know their story. So we've got people that are buying houses now, but they don't intend to move again. So they're building a house where they can easily install a lift. So they'd have a cupboard downstairs, say an airing cupboard upstairs. That becomes the shaft, and then they can, be there in their old age, or you could have the dream house that you've always wanted, with the Juliet balcony. You could have ensuite bedrooms, you could have a big lounge that opens up into the garden, and people tell us their story and why they're designing their house in the way they are, which is lovely for us and lovely for them, that they can talk to us about that. And with our team, we can deliver it. I love the views of Blackcomb, which every time I go looks different depending on what the sun's doing and what time of year it is. And the beach. I love the beach. I grew up in the seaside, and I just love to be near the coast.
I find it difficult to answer that question, to be honest with you, because I'm enjoying seeing the site develop. We have ideas as we go, and the great thing is we can chase those down. And if we talk then with people coming to site and ask them whether they like those ideas or they want to input some of their own ideas, we can chase those down. So it's as you know, currently we've been looking at the landscaping, we've been talking about planting, we've had people on regarding bees and bees on site and encouraging all manner of wildlife. We can develop that, and so right now that's a real hobby. But when we get the planning through, we've got the outline. But once we got the detailed planning through for the hub and the holiday cottages for families with disability and the rest of the houses, making that brilliant is going to be so exciting for us. But then realizing that we then have to start working within the West Cumbria community to develop relationship with Cumbria horses, to get access onto Bootle Beach, to be developing access at Salcroft, which is coming along actually as we know now, and a whole series of Muncaster Castle, Ravenglass, access up into Eskdale, and so on. These are all going to be important reasons why people are going to be attracted to come and spend time at Wellbank, whether it's to live or whether it's to visit. And we have to build those relationships. It's been something we've kind of been keeping warm, but because until you've got diggers on site and you've got houses going up, there's a little bit of maybe skepticism locally that it's taken a little bit of a time to get to this point, which is true. We've had some challenges, but now that it's going up, I think we reach out and we are doing that. And so again, trying not to make this a development site in that one location, but it is a location within that community. That's kind of what I'm excited about. So it's a slightly waffly answer, but not very specific. It was a difficult question. So. Well, throughout the time that we've been involved at Wellbank from the acquisition, actually the community itself had already identified Wellbank as a key project within. In the end, it came to be 23 projects within Bootle to develop and enhance a whole raft of things across the community. And we got buffeted along the way a little bit by Brexit and economics and pandemics, but those 23 projects, which do link together, that's everything from rewiggling rivers, planting trees, growing at school, BMX tracks, football clubs, lots and lots of clubs actually keep developing a dynamic school, access to different places around the community and activities around the community. And I think Wellbank at the heart of that, and in the new world that we live in and the new challenges that we have, which are actually quite different from 10 years ago now. It's things have moved on quite rapidly generally, and so there'll be a refresh program.
We've always seen Wellbank Park. It's part of Bootle. It's not a separate gated community outside. So we've talked to the parish council about getting a walkway off the road so you can walk from Wellbank Park to the village, and then you can also walk the other way to the railway station and then onto the beach. There's lots of activities. It's a small little village, Bootle, but there's a lovely cafe called the Bayer. There's a football club, a bowls club, all sorts of dancing activities and Britain in Bloom, and we've made those connections, and we'll hand on those connections to whoever lives there. You know,
we're finding actually right now, even with the plot buyers we have on site, we've got a guy interested in becoming part of the maintenance program for the buildings and the landscape at Wellbank as we go. His partner is an ex-school manager. She's very interested to know about the school. So there's
we're a bit of a conduit, really, aren't we, between the new people and the old people, because we know what's happening, so we can do the introductions and get a sort of seamless.
And we're going to employ people as well. So the site is going to, you know, if we built a hotel, as Joe will tell you, you can run a hotel with 3 people these days, effectively. We're going to be employing 30, 40, 50 people on site, I would imagine, not directly ourselves, but by the business that comes and the businesses that operate at Wellbank.
And people bring their own ideas, don't they? They talk about having hens on site, growing their own vegetables, having allotments. You know, people are full of ideas. And because we've not crammed in houses into the site, you know, there is space. So it's, you know, there's lots of opportunities. We've welcomed people. You know, if people want to drop down, just drop in and have a look and have a chat. That's brilliant. We love to talk.
Yes, we do seem to.